Hello and welcome to Module 6 Portfolio Assignment. In this assignment, I have been asked to compare or make healthcare as safe as aviation industry. Before that, you look at my proposal, what I'm proposing here, how we can make, how we can use a big data and make patient health is more safe, comparable to aviation industry. So let's look at the data from the aviation industry, how the data has been collected, how much data has been collected, then look at healthcare one, how healthcare data is being collected and how much data has been collected and what are the challenges healthcare system has it while having the looking at the size of data and look at the healthcare safety records and then move on to the my proposal and then finally to the press release which will be I will be attaching as attachment to this presentation. So let's move to the next slide. So we are looking at the aviation industry, the data collection. So if you look at any, I have taken the Airbus example here. So if you look at the Airbus 350, average number of sensors is 10,000 and average data they produce is around 2.5 terabytes per day, and that could triple by 2020. So that's the data collection piece. But before we go further, I'm going to point out my point of view here. So if we look at the airlines, if we are looking at the aircraft is a machine. So for the machine, we can attach the sensors as we want, and it's not going to complain it, right? That factor is there. But for human, the human factor comes into the picture where if I think myself, if somebody will ask me that, hey, Sunil, you have to wear 10,000 sensors on your body so I can collect all the data and predict your health behaviors. I will maybe on face, I'm gonna deny it. I'm not gonna be like wearing sensors all over my body. So that is the major challenge for the healthcare system where we are subject, our focus is a patient is being human being, and being human being, the we have to think about the human being challenges, how it behaves in certain situation, how he's going to take it when we are putting a sensors on him, whether he like it, whether he's going to obey it, whether he's going to wear it properly. So those are challenges are coming into the healthcare system. So I'm just putting out there so we have a baseline what I'm talking about, right? So next look at the aviation industry safety records. So I just pulled the one chart and the link is at the down so you can look at the more information if you want it. But if just I pulled out for 2017 and there was, if you take, there was only 44 airline incident fatalities and the 10 fatal airline incident took place last year. So if you look at the charts and if you look at the aviation industry, what they do, they learn from their mistakes. There's any incident happen, they collect all the data, they analyze the data, and then they introduce more and more safety measures like a lot of things they do it like how they can make more secure their seats can become a floating devices, all kind of changes as you can see that how the airline industry has evolved over the time, like learned it and improve it, learn perfection, right? Kind of continuous cycle of improvement they have done it. Like if you look at the airports, like how many guided devices are there where they can guide the planes when it lands from runway to coming to the gate. They can guide through the using the GPS system and radar systems where the plane can be safely dock it to the gate and then go from there. So I'm just trying to mention what are the safety measure and how much sensor they try to use it. I think key factor is the data and the data collection sources, data sets. Those are the key here because with the data we can evaluate and generate an insight and learn from that. But if we don't have a data and we don't know how to process the data, we are back to the square one. So let's move to the healthcare data size and I'm just going to present some of the numbers, and hopefully it's not mind-boggling for you. So if we look at the patient monitoring equipment generates out average range of 1000 readings per second or 88,400 readings per day. It's estimated that nearly 5 billion patients worldwide will use a remote health monitoring device in coming days. Single human genomes require around 200 GB of raw storage. A single healthcare system, just as a Kaiser, it can generate the following data in a year, like 7 million online prescription, 21 million lab results are generated, 12 million secure email messages are sent, 36 million medical records has been generated or stored or retrieved. The average hospital under the system generates 665 terabytes of data, and overall Kaiser is sitting around 10 petabytes of data. So are you looking at the numbers? Like, it's mind-boggling how much data we are generating. Are we equipped to process all that? And these data is generated on the reported by the healthcare system, one healthcare system. And if you look at the overall US, there are multiple healthcare systems, and you multiply by that many times. And so that and then I will talk about the challenges in the next slide, but I'm just like amazed by looking at the amount of data we generate. So now challenge is that, can we really process the data? Can we really learn anything from the data and improve the patient health based on those data? And the challenges are these this is like just system is generating where the patients are visiting, and that is like a reliable data has been reported. But this, we are not talking about sensor data, right? We have just mentioned that 5 billion patients will be wearing the remote health monitoring devices, but what kind of devices? Like, if it's just Bluetooth or maybe just a Fitbit, they're not generating any health data. They're generating just just your different pattern, how you're doing exercise, how much exercise you're doing it. But that's not the realistic health data, where my blood pressure, my glucose reading, all that critical data, all that information is not being generated automatically from a sensor. Somehow the human, the patient, has to take effort for that. So let's move on to the next slide, where I'm going to talk about challenges in further or in a detail somewhat. So the data challenges the healthcare. The data is all over the place. Like, as I have mentioned, that Kaiser sitting on the 10 petabytes of data alone. And if you think about other healthcare system, they might be having a similar amount of data. So there is no single place where all the data is collected at single place and everybody can run analytics, learn more about about the patient by comparing on the other sets of the data. And that's the one advantage the airline industry has, it because they all goes through the same channel. They all collect, they share, and they pool, and they exchange the data between them. That's where the healthcare information exchange is being coming into picture, where if all the data is being exchanged or being stored or being somewhat shared at a single place, think about how much good insight we can produce. And the healthcare data is another problem, is that it's a combination of structured and unstructured data. Structured data, I mean, the whatever the data entry, we do it from a screen, that where we are collecting the data, asking a question and filling up on a computer screen or lab records. But unstructured data are like maybe social media data, or doctor's notes, right, where doctor is writing a note on the paper, or it's a dictating it. Even if it's a dictating using NLP software, still it's a somewhat structured data, where NLP can analyze the data, can find out the concept and break that data in a right structure and use it. And there's another problem with healthcare system is inconsistent definitions are there. Some labs are treated different way. They call it different one healthcare system compared to another healthcare system. So that challenge is there. And as we mentioned, data is a complex. Like you think about genome data, where we just need for sequencing we need a 200 gigabytes of data. So it's pretty complex and pretty mind-boggling. And the other bigger problem is regularity, right? Where the government try to regulate the healthcare industry, where the requirements are keep on changing and new requirements being added by after conducting a research or a study by the health department or government or payer, or maybe providers are doing some research and they're suggesting there's some changes into the healthcare system, and maybe it's coming from the FDA. So there's a multiple bodies are involved who try to regulate the whole healthcare system, and their requirements are keep on changing. So that's also through the data part of little bit different, right? Maybe requirements adding to a collection of additional data in additional form and shape. So that's challenge is always there. So, as I had discussed, a lot of challenges that the healthcare data collection has it, but let's look at the healthcare safety records. So, if we look at the patient safety, there is a 1 in 10 patients are harmed while receiving a healthcare. It's like 10%, and 43 million patient safety incidents occur every year. So we are looking around, if US population is 260 million people, 43 million is around 20%. And at the average we spend around $42 billion on the medication errors. So these are the big numbers, as you can see it. If we can improve even 10% out of that, which can be big number, we will be saving so much money, life, and improving the patient health quality and health systems improvement will be doing it. So now I'm moving and introducing, which is called Health 360 app. In this Health 360 app, what we are proposing will be having a multiple data sets similar to airlines industry. It cannot be, I cannot say it's you can compare apple to apple, but what I am proposing here that we will be collecting the data from multiple sources, from your mHealth device, like maybe you're wearing the blood pressure monitoring device, your the smart devices you're trying to use it, smart weight machine, smart blood pressure monitoring. Maybe you're using electronic digital collection for the glucose monitoring, or you're wearing one of the continuous glucose monitoring devices which can emit the data to the on the internet or via Bluetooth, and that can be collected regularly. So we'll be having a one data set from there, especially for one patient, and then we will be collecting the data from the multiple data sets, and this data sets will be aggregated among other patients, and finally what's going to happen, it can provide you the better outcome by using the connected health system, where data is being collected from all the sets and then aggregated, and then finally your record is compared with aggregated set, and we can generate the good insights for you by looking at this data, by predicting, okay, by how many percentage of the chances you have to have certain medical conditions you can generate. So it's like we can give you the we can give you the full risk assessment to you. Okay, by looking at this data, my risk assessment says that you have this many percentage chances of developing these and these problems, health problems to you. So such kind of insights and good insights we can produce it, because what we are looking at here, we are looking at here on the real data, which is the data has been collected by the multiple data sets, which is kind of more reliable, like especially if you look at the public health data or genome data. But social could be dicey, like where people sharing their information, but that data can be used very reliably for providing the information to our providers, right? Maybe I can just simply say, oh, I don't like this healthcare system because the receptionist was rude to me and she didn't treated me as I was supposed to be, or I felt the way I should be treated. So such kind of information can be used and leveraged. So that's my idea, Health 360 connected health, where we can use the data set and analytics to produce the better health for you. Thank you for listening me, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.